Hi everyone, I'm Sam. I'm the founder and the CEO of Delenta. Again, another chapter of our Delenta Elevate series. This is something that we tend to do every month, sometimes twice a month. So this is another episode which we're going to talk about something very, very important. About a game. No, it's not about a game. It's about actually how you can build your business and how you can strategically plan your business. So we have amazing Corinna Hagen from California joining us. Hey, Corrina.
Hey there. Actually, I'm in Dallas now, but I used to be in California. That's almost.
You're in Dallas now, okay. Wow, okay. I need to update my records. Right, thank you very much for joining and then spending that next hour with us and sharing your knowledge and wisdom. Very exciting stuff to come up. So those who are not aware of our Delenta area series, this is something that we tend to do every month, at least once a month. So we have amazing topics we discuss every month with our own coaches from our own community. They tend to be sometimes data protection, business, how to attract clients and things like that. If you are not, if you are interested in coming into these events, if you want to get yourself notified, please follow our social media. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. So we tend to basically keep these events available on those pages. So please follow us on social media. Yes, we got a guest speaker, Corrina. She's an author, right? She's a blogger, and she also founder of coaches.It and also founder of ZARADIGM, right? Leadership coaching organization. So she has a lovely book written about virtual working, like remotely working, right? The high performance virtual working, which is again, it's open up a different paradigm to how you basically get yourself prepared to work remotely and how you can be productive and effective. So it's an amazing book. I'm sure we will basically share the details of that book during the session. She's also been in coaching for last decade or so, like doing either corporate coaching or leadership coaching, and also have a amazing presence online. So you can basically learn a lot today, and I'm basically excited to learn a lot out of Corrina's session today. So before we jump into the actual session, there may be some attenders who's going to be watching offline or watching right now, may not aware of Delenta. So I just want to give you a quick background to what problem we are solving and how we can basically beneficial for you. So Delenta is an all-in-one coaching platform. It basically caters for any size of coaching business, right? For if you're a starter coach, you basically maybe interested in coaching, all right? And you want to start your coaching business without investing a lot of money on your website and integrating other tools and investing in VAs, etc. This is Delenta to basically start with, because you get a landing page, you get all the other features that you need to kick off your coaching business within 5 minutes, right? And then as you build your coaching business, you want to basically have your coaching hours logged in. You want to go for certification. You want to do group coaching. There you go. Then a professional, and then premium. You can have your own branding. You can have your own white label. Our white label solution to custom brand our platform, so you can basically scale your coaching business up until you want to basically scale to thousands of coaches. You can add more associated to our enterprise. So this is the journey that we basically help you throughout your coaching journey. Now the problem we try to solve is very simple. Today, as a coach, you tend to be in this kind of convolution. There's a lot to do. There's no enough time per day. You might have left a 9 to 5:30 job, or maybe you working part-time, right? You tend to do like billing, invoicing, session conducting, and also reminders, client management. There's a lot to do. So what we do is we simplify the process. We put things in order for you to see complete business in one system, right? One paper. So that will help you to be focused and also work on your business and grow your business. As entrepreneurs, we tend to be very much passionate about what we do. So what we love today is doing coaching. So that's what we allow you to do with Delenta. So if you want to bring your own integrations that you're basically familiar with, like maybe Outlook, Google, PayPal, Stripe, yes, you can do that as well. and you can basically work with our workflows, our solution to basically help you grow your business. So that basically it. What we offer. If you're, I'm sure you're interested in a platform like ours to basically help you to build your coaching business. So please feel free to book a demo. We have video tutorials basically available on our website in delenta.com, and you can basically see in coachily.com, basically, which is Corrina's website. So we have done a beautiful webinar there, and you can see a lot of information Delenta there as well. I'm gonna basically jump into the upcoming feature maybe later, right? I'll come back to it once Corrina's done with the session if you have time. And there are exciting stuff coming up with the online courses, mobile apps, etc., etc. So we'll go through that later. So with that in mind, I'm going to hand this over to Corinna Hagen. So I'm really excited, Corinna. So I'm going to basically stop sharing and give you access to share your screen. Okay.
Thank you. You're excited. I'm excited. I want you on my shoulder all day. You talk so greatly about me.
There you go. It's energy. Yeah?
Synergy, that's right. Okay, I'm going to get started with that very soon, but I want to say, first of all, thank you for having me on here. And you guys, he doesn't mention the updates that are coming in the new feature releases, but you really want to stay on for that because Sam did a live demo with me just maybe 2 weeks ago. And so I had interviewed him for Coachily, for the coaching blog, where we talk a lot about, coaching technology or any tools that really help you build your coaching practice. And so I invited him to give a live demo about Delenta and how to use the tool. And he shared also those new features coming up. So if you have the time to wait to the very end, please do. You don't want to miss that. Now, my name is Corinna Hagen. I do have my own coaching practice. I am a leadership and career coach at ZARADIGM. That's Paradigm with a Z. But I also run all the volunteers. I'm a volunteer director at Coachily. That's that coaching magazine I referenced. And I have a background of working in management consulting, working with Fortune 500 companies and with startups for a little over 18 years now. And 12 of those 18 years, I've worked in global teams, but mostly remotely. So I would travel to different offices, but I work mostly remotely, which is what I then used to cover in my book, High Performance Virtual Work. That's what Sam earlier mentioned. And so one of the things I have done in my work with these Fortune 500 companies and also with a lot of startups is I made sure that we selected startups that are fit for acquisition or merger or partnering for these big companies. And a lot of that included working on business plans. And it's what I want to talk to you about today. So I want to show you a simple way to create a business plan, a business game plan, as I call it. It's not a full-blown business plan, and I'll explain the difference to you, but something that will be very helpful for you to keep you focused and to achieve your goals. And it's easier to create than that classic business plan. So let's jump right on in. On this next slide here, can you type in the chat maybe, what do you think these billion-dollar businesses have in common? What does Disney and GE, what do they have to do with each other? So they're leaders in their markets. They've grown so big, right? And they're well-recognized brands. But can you believe that none of these had a formal business plan? Like none of these. And so, and now you might ask me, why am I here, right? Like, why am I doing this today? So does this mean you don't need a business plan, right? And the answer is no. You don't need a classic formal business plan. You should have a plan. All of these companies had a plan. They didn't have a formalized business plan that they submitted, but they all had a vision and a plan in front of them that they carried out, right? And so that's what I want to show you today. I want to give you a plan that will work for you. So even if it's not a formal business plan, we're going to work something out for you. But let me first show you what would end up in a formal business plan. So what you see here is the simplified version of what a formal business plan would include. You see here, this is kind of like origami, style, like you unfold a cube and this is how it would look like, right? I call it the business cube. So in that cube, inside is the why. What are you adding to this world? Why are you in business in the first place? That's your value proposition, the problems that you're solving, and why you're there. And then surrounding that are all the different elements that you need to cover. The customers that you're serving, you need to identify them. At the end, I give you a free worksheet where you can very quickly, in 6 simple steps, identify your coaching niche and really target your right audience, and that's customer definition. So that would go into a typical business plan. Who are your customers? What are your products? How are you intending to make money, right? What are your revenue streams? The direct streams and indirect revenue streams, perhaps. You will also identify the cost structure. What is needed to start your business and what does it cost to maintain your business? And then you identify the processes. What do you need to do, the key activities that keep your business alive? So those will be in your coaching practice. We'll probably have to do some sales, right? Some free consultations where you get to know your leads and see if they're a fit for your coaching and if you are a good fit for them. And right, so that's one of those key activities. And doing the actual coaching would be one of those, right? And then finding the right partners to help you run your business. And that can be the vendors that you include, like Delenta. If you partner up with Delenta to say, okay, they power a lot of my operations, how I run my business, onboarding clients on Delenta, then that would be one of those partners. It could also be that you partner up with a local organization where you hold regular events where your leads come from and you deliver a benefit by maybe doing those events for free. Any and all of those things would go in there. And so a business plan formally would identify all these different items, but it is typically a maybe like 40 to 100 page document, right? Depending on how big your business is. And it includes a lot of text and then a couple of projections, financial projections to see, where you're going with this. And that's all nice. This plan is still very useful because it holds you accountable to what you had set out to do. But the intention here, or the purpose of a plan that is formalized like that, is more to either, convince a bank or have something, a written document that becomes part of a legal contract when you get other people on board. And so if you're not seeking investment, if you're not trying to go to a bank to get a loan for your business, then this formalized plan is probably going to sit in your file folder and you're doing it once and then you're not going to touch it for a while, right? So I have something that's more operational for you, that will help you in your day-to-day activities to build your business, other than a document that will just sit in a file folder, 100 pages. You're not going to go through 100 pages every day to see where you are, right? So here is why I want you to think through creating a business game plan, why I suggest this. Again, like this document, Word document is very wordy, and it's good because it's a long-term plan. You might want to keep it there if you want to invest the time to develop this. But now, if you're a coach and you're currently really at the very beginning building this business for yourself, think about these other big businesses, right? They build big businesses, and I kid you not, they do have business plans now. But they didn't start like that. They thought about what's really important, what really matters to me, how can I stay on target? And so I'm suggesting that we create a one-page plan that you can hang up on your wall or put on your desk and look at every day, if not every week, right? Every week, maybe every day. And it is so that you don't have to take all the effort to maintain this big document, because this is something that you can quickly alter. And so what we're going to do now, if you do have a piece of paper or whiteboard, wipe it clean. And then we're going to create this business game plan. You can either do this live with me here right now, or you can follow along and do this later. But what you need, the big components here are, you need the stages of your business. And what I mean by that, think about this as phases of building your business. Let's say you're trying to build a house. You're not going to start with the interior decoration to pick out what the house should look from the inside, right? You probably begin looking for land and assessing your budget and what does it take to build the house and finding contractors. So think of these major stages as phases. Yeah. So we're going to identify the phases of you building your business. And what you need to do for this, you need to engage your vision. Don't play it small. Don't think, by the end of the year, I would like to have 2 clients. That's okay. But what do you want your business to look like a year or 2 from now? And so we're building this for a time frame, let's say 12 months from now, okay? What would your business look like 12 months from now? And you can play big, dream big. And if you're slightly short of a mark, you have still made a lot of progress looking back, yeah? Then we're gonna set your milestones. So you need to know a little bit what your milestones are for your business, the vision that you have for what you want to build in your coaching practice. Those milestones are not tasks. So I want to make sure there's a distinction. Milestones are groups of tasks, right? They're clusters that are contributors to each phase. So if one of those phases is I want to secure buying the land that I build my house on, there are a lot of things that go into that, right? Or if I want to start building the house, there are a couple of things that go into meeting that phase, concluding that phase of building the bricks, right? Starting actually building your house. So what goes into that? And we're not going to talk about every single task, but we're grouping this into milestones to say, okay, in order to build my house, after the phase of securing the land is completed, I probably want to evaluate the contractors. So evaluating contractors and then making the decision who I hire to actually build my house, that would be one of those milestones, right? And then all the tasks that go underneath that are the ones that go into your daily journal of what you plan to do every day. So we're going to stay at the higher level, at the milestone level here. One thing, all your milestones should be SMART. They should be specific, measurable, attainable, right? There should be something that you actually can do. They should be realistic, and they should be time-bound. And they are time-bound by default because we're sandwiching them into or assigning them into each of these phases so that there's a beginning and an end to it. So it's not dragging on forever and ever. So those will be SMART goals to set, SMART, for those abbreviations. What I just gave you the acrostic for that. And so lastly, what we will do is we'll take your plan, and then we look at which one of these monetizes the fastest. And I'll go into that in a minute. Here is a sample of a business plan that one of my former clients had created for his business. And so he said, okay, I'm gonna think about a whole year. What are the things I want to do? And he just thought, what's my vision? What do I want to do? He said, of course, like right now, I don't have anything. The first phase would be laying the foundation. And you see here, it's interesting, I picked the house example. He visualized this by saying, okay, I'm laying the bricks, right? Like I'm creating the foundation. So there is something. I don't have a store if I don't have a building, basically, right? Kind of paraphrase the example. So founding is his first phase. Then he said, okay, so I know where I want to be at the end, but if I walk this back, what do I need to have next, right? So now I have the foundation, my business is registered, I have a name, but nobody knows me yet. So I need to begin building my brand. People need to know who I am or who my business is. And so I need to start building the brand. And you see here that the pear, not the apple. That was his visualization for this phase. That would be everything that would go into that. And then the third stage he defined here is to becoming a thought leader. So in his point of view was that once he has established a brand, and this is different from the brand itself, the brand will be something that begins to get recognition, and where he knows the voice that he uses to articulate what he's doing or what the business is doing. But the thought leader would be one step further. He envisioned that people would begin contacting him instead of him reaching out as the brand. So he would be the expert that be sought after. And then in the last phase here, empire scaler, kind of funny how you define that. So the empire scaler to him was at one point in his business, and this was a big vision, especially for a year, but he was intending to begin hiring other people. And so let's go into what this looks like as it goes into the next phase. But what you're doing here is you take your vision, you go, okay, this is ultimately what I want is empire scaling, like by the end of the year or by the end of 2 years, however long your plan is. I would like to see my business in this state. And that means if I walk this back, these are the 4, maybe 5 major stages that I will find myself in. I suggest not doing more than 5. 4 or 5 stages is realistic. And then you can do this now or later, but you set a time frame for these stages or for these phases. How long do you give yourself? Remember what I said earlier, you want to have SMART goals. You want to be very specific about by when you want to achieve that. And don't be afraid right now to assign a rough time frame to it. These are rough estimates for you. You don't know what to expect when you go into a business. Sam will be able to tell you, we've talked about that. You think it's going one way and things go slightly another way, and that is fine. But you need to lay a plan. Otherwise, you're marching not to your own beat, not to your own plan, but you're constantly just reacting to what the world wants from you, then responding strategically with your plan in mind to say, okay, here are the things that matter to me. How does this fit in? So it's good to make an estimate here. Take it loosely. If it needs to have an adjustment, that's fine. That's better than not having any time frame there at all. Someone wise said, failing to plan is planning to fail. So make a plan. It's better to make an adjustment, but at least it drives you to move forward. And then the next phase here, this is where you identify key activities. Those are the milestones that I mentioned earlier that you need to achieve in order for this phase to be complete. So you see here, in order to complete the foundation, this client rightfully so said, well, what good is it if I build my brand if I don't have a product? So part of my foundation phase is to have the first product, not 3 products. I might have a vision for 3 products, but in order to set the foundation, 1 product is what I need to have. Otherwise, what am I going to sell, right? So think through that too. Like, what is the minimum you need to have in order to get this started? What really belongs into each of these phases? And then he said, well, I need to have at least 1 working sales channel. Again, these are just very abbreviated. There's more behind it, but simplified 1 sales channel. It's not that he only has 1 sales channel, but it's 1 working sales channel, right? That's what he wants. He said ideally 1,000 followers. I can tell you now in retrospect, he revised this later on. In his vision in the beginning, he thought this was one of the important things, that 1,000 followers will give him that business. And 3 events that were paid for. So that was his idea here. And 1 working advertisement. And then he just followed through and said, okay, for all of these different phases, right, here is what I envision will happen in each phase. so that my game plan, my vision will come true. And so you see here, he said, okay, now once I have the foundation, I have a product and all of that, I begin to get speaking engagements, I have testimonials from customers that will help me to gain more traction, and now people will come to me and I'll become a thought leader if I am featured in a magazine, because now people see that I'm featured in this very prolific magazine that he picked. And if I win an award, then even more so, they will come to me, right? And so these were then targets he set to achieve that phase, and a couple of others. And then lastly, you see here with the hiring, which was interesting. He wanted to hire full-time employees. He revised this, and I put the revision on here because I thought you should see this. You can treat this loosely enough to allow yourself to learn as you grow, okay? You never fail, right, if you take the opportunity to learn. So you either win or you learn. That's what I tell my clients. You win or you learn. You don't win or lose. You know, you have an opportunity to correct here. And he wanted to hire other people under him, and he decided to go with a VA, at least that year. So didn't quite hit that mark, and that was still okay. He's still flourishing. So I mentioned to you earlier, after we are through this exercise of actually creating our visual plan, and you can take another way to display this. You could, I've seen one client display this in form of a map, where they would see where they are on the map, or as a tree, you know, they start with the roots and then they go up. Whichever suits you best. I chose the simplest method that I didn't have to do with a lot of drawing, and I could put up. This is the one I also use in my bedroom, actually. And so use what suits you, make it visual so it's easy for you to, at a quick glance, see where you are on the map, you know, however your map or business game plan looks like. But looking at the monetizers, so the red dot means what monetizes the fastest. And so, of course, 1,000 followers on Instagram is the example I mentioned earlier. That doesn't monetize. And having, you know, 12 sales channels, you might want to do all of that, but it takes maintenance. So if you have 12 sales channels, you need to maintain them. If you decide early on, and especially, I think I heard earlier, we have a lot of new coaches or early coaches that are in the early stage. One word of caution for social media, and I have done the same thing. I've tried to be everywhere because everything is important. All people are on all these channels, but maybe not your clients. And it's better to master one channel before you reach everything. So in this case, you know, he had the 1,000 followers there. He later X'd that out and said, that's not part of the foundation. It is something to pursue. He wanted to have a certain amount of followers over time, but for other reasons. And that's a whole different presentation. In terms of marketing, we can talk about that maybe another time. But he X'd that out and said, okay, what I really, really need to focus on is my product needs to be there. No product, no foundation. There's no business to be built without having anything to offer. And the 3 events, he stuck to that. He said the 3 events are part of income, but also part of building, you know, and selling the product and building my reputation and being out there and becoming known. So you will do the same exercise for yourself. Once you have built all those activities, take a step back and maybe a day later, look at this and think, okay, what is really, really contributing to my business monetizing? Because, you know, you're not a charity, and even if you are, even charities without money don't work, right? You need money to keep the organization growing or alive. So what can you do in order to keep that alive so that you can keep reinvesting and growing your business? You need to eat. So you also need to think through, what do you do when the phone rings and somebody says, I'm ready to coach with you. How can I get started, right? What do you do when the phone rings and they say, I want to start tomorrow? So that will help you prioritize very quickly. What are the things that I really need? If I have an Instagram account and I have, some people do this, they purchase followers. Well, now you have all these fake followers, or maybe you have real followers, right? But they're followers, they're not your clients. So what are you going to do, right? When you have all these other things set up, but you don't have anything to offer to your clients when they throw money at you and say, I want to coach with you. What's happening? Are you going to have, for example, Delenta as a platform where you can say, oh, yeah, I can, let's set up a call. I let you see how coaching with me works, right? My understanding is that Sam explained in his live demo that you can onboard leads that are not yet clients. So they can get to see how your system works, how you onboard them, how they interact with you, and get a feel for what it's like to be working with you. And that this is, in fact, high converting, meaning a lot of people that come to an onboarding call with you, or like a free consultation, that see the system, gain trust that, oh, you're a professional, you don't want to do this, and actually convert into clients. But you have to think through those things ahead of time so that by the time people want to coach with you, you're ready to roll. And don't overcomplicate this. Think about it's a Silicon Valley term, or I believe it's a marketing term, MVP. Yeah, it stands for minimum viable product. So think about what is the minimum you really need before you build the extras. You can add to things as you grow, but think about the current product that you need, right, before you refine it. And so deliver that first. Make sure you build a product that people actually want. And so now you see, we've gone through the filter. We've thought about, well, what is it that I really need? What monetizes the fastest. And then as you begin to build your business, you start Xing out your milestones as you achieve them. It's a very simple way of seeing how far you've come, right? And you can maybe put, I see these people putting up these bullet journals, and they're very fancy about them. They have this glitter tape, and they put that over this, right? You could do that, whatever floats your boat. Have some celebration when you achieve a milestone. Awesome. It should feel good to you to achieve your milestones, but also do a reflection on where you are and how things are going. You might need to fine-tune this, just like my client did. What I recommend that you do is that you put this whiteboard in a prominent place. I have mine in the bedroom. I have 2 doors in my bedroom. One leads to the bathroom, one leads out to the hallway. So either way, however I leave my bedroom in the morning, I can't help but pass by this whiteboard. You could hang it on your desk, right? Use this to then align your weekly and daily planner with your strategic vision. Because one of the things, and I really want to mention this here, that will happen over time is the further you walk away from the vision, the more you tend to forget and become very operational. There's a best-selling book that I think it's a 10-year best-selling book in entrepreneurship. It's called The E-Myth, The Entrepreneur Myth by Michael Gerber. You want to get that book. I'm giving you the super short summary. He talks about how each entrepreneur basically has to wrestle with 3 personalities on the inside. One is the visionary. That's you when you thought about starting the business. One is the manager. That's the person trying to organize how you actually put this vision into action, right? Doing the planning. And then there is the technician, which is the doer. That's the person that gets very operational and checks all the emails and makes sure that everything works and interacts with the clients and does the sales and picks up the phone and all these things. As you progress, you will get a lot of that. And so it's important to remind yourself, oh, I need to remember what I set out to do. Otherwise, you become very reactionary and not very focused. That's why this one-page game plan is so useful for you. You build this so that you can look at it and with one glance, you can see, where do I stand with this? Did I deviate from this? what did I do last week? There will be weeks where you feel like time slipped through your hands and you did a lot of things, but you didn't really gain any traction. So that's when it's good to look back here and see, do I need to make some adjustments here? Okay. I suggest that you also review your goals weekly and maybe do a monthly internal board meeting, like a board meeting with yourself, right? And say, okay, need to talk to my CFO, right? How's my wallet looking like? Need to talk to my marketing officer. How am I doing on all these different items?
So sorry to interrupt, but the flow.
No, we're good.
In terms of the sort of reviewing the goals, I think Tammy asked a very good question around how do you define your SMART goals? Like, how do you define those? So how do you do that?
So SMART stood for, SMART goal stands for specific. Specific meaning has a definition attached to it. Like in this case here, you see one product, right? One. So you have a metric there. It's one product, not 5, right? You could say, I want to have products. Well, products is very wishy-washy, right? How many products? 5, 10, 15, 1, right? So you define, that's SMART, right? The S in SMART. And then it has to be measurable. Now, measurable is not exactly the same as the specific part that I just mentioned. Measurable is that you can identify by when do you achieve this? How is this being achieved? What are we talking about, right? So in this case, it's measurable because we said between January and April, this needs to happen, right? So that makes it measurable. And it needs to be attainable. That's the A, attainable. And attainable just, means it can be done, right? It's something that's possible. It needs to be realistic. Again, if you say it can be done, but it can't be done in this amount of time, or it can't be done with the resources I have, then it's unrealistic. So make that assessment too. And then the last letter is T, that's time bound, right? You need to put a time frame around this. So those are SMART goals. Did that help?
Yeah, great. Thanks. Thank you for Balasubramaniam as well. Sorry if I pronounce your names wrong. Balasubramaniam, to sharing that with everybody as well on the chat. No, that's great. And a couple of comments from my end from the sort of observation point of view. This is a great tool, right? If you look at, you basically have like the months going on, and then again you have the specific goals that you're defined for each stage. And you can call it the way you want, right? Based on your business. Is that right, Corrina? So, I mean, can be founder, can be start, whatever you want to basically comfortable with, right? So, and yeah, so can I ask you, like, what makes you, come up with those labels? Like, those, that you had a peach or pear, and then you had thought leader. What makes you do that?
Yeah, so I put this up so it's more visual, right? At one glance, you can see like, why am I even bothering about this, right? It's already visual because you're putting this up in a way that you can very clearly distinguish those phases. But I put those up so that you have a reminder, like, why did I put the bricks up, right? What I'm doing here is I'm laying that foundation. Who cares about hiring people if I don't have a healthy foundation? Right? And it brings it back to the original purpose. Now, the longer we walk away from our original idea, the more loosely the vision sometimes gets attacked, so to speak, right? Life comes your way, and you want to make sure that you still stay in tune with your original dream. A lot of people give up on their dreams, so make sure that you revert back to that, and strong visuals. And you can use anything here that speaks to you, right? This spoke to the guy that did this for himself, but think about what speaks to you. Like, why are you in this? What meaning does it have? When maybe you also say, like, for me, it's also foundation, but I put a different image in there. What meaning does it have for you, right? Why are you getting into this? And the why is really, really important here in every phase.
No, that's very interesting. It's almost like, we can map Delenta plans into this structure, right? Like you can say, we have a starter plan, and we have professional plan, premium, and then enterprise, like, which is an empire you want to build with the hundreds of coaches on Delenta, right? So it's interesting how we have done. And one more question from my end, then we can basically open up to everybody else. Do you recommend anyone to define the revenue targets as well for each stage or not, or number of customers and things like that?
You are so advanced, Sam. Identify the revenue targets. That's actually, it's a great recommendation. I don't want to overwhelm the audience because today we just talk about this. So build this. Ideally, yeah, you would look at how you hold yourself accountable and say, like, ideally in the first 3 months, maybe you say, oh, it's a loss leader, right? First 3 months, I self-funded, or I'm still working, but like maybe you say, hey, maybe you're doing this part-time, and you say by June here, right? Like if we stick with this schedule here, by June, I want to leave my company and I want to do this on my own. So in order to do this, what needs to happen? Now that will make it very specific, right? Now you can say, yeah, now I am at the stage, here's the demarcation line. Now I can hand in my resignation and be on my own, right?
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah,
Good
thank you very much. It's great advice. And yeah, like we say in the startup world, like which is sort of tech startup and the Silicon Valley terminology, focus on the number of customers before you focus on revenue, right? That's what sort of a lot of Silicon Valley startups do, and all over, not just Silicon Valley, it's basically like a lot of startups. So this is great advice. So what I do is then I'll let open the floor for any other questions that we have from audience. If you have any question, you can either unmute yourself and ask a question. You can send a question through chat, or any other comments, observations, or feedback. We will really appreciate that. Corinna, I think you have done a fabulous job.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, Tammy has a suggestion. Post the visual as a screensaver. Yeah, great idea. I think I love that.
Oh, that's a great idea. I didn't think of that. That's really good.
Amazing.
I might take your advice, Tammy. That's really good advice.
That's awesome. So I think, any other question, or you can basically post questions and you can unmute yourself and ask. What I do is I quickly cover the upcoming features of Delenta. And if you're a coach, I would highly recommend you to look at Delenta and see how it can really help you focus on your business. Yeah, sorry, Corrina, you're good.
Yeah, just want to mention, I can mention at the end, if they want a 6-step plan to actually create their coaching niche, they can do that. I can share here real quick. So coaches.It has released a book just 2 months ago on how to start an online coaching business. It's available in both Kindle and in print version on Amazon. And it has, in that book, are 3 worksheets where I help coaches to identify key parts of their business. So you can get access to 1 worksheet out of that book for free. That email, I believe, Sam, you guys are sending at the end. And then just check out coaches.It. That's also where Sam gave the live demo that he mentioned earlier, that you can see there. And then I'll hand this back to you. I'll start my share now.
Awesome. That's a great actually tool, isn't it? Sort of define your niche to help. I think a lot of coaches basically struggling with that, as we see in the market today, and also stick with that niche, right? So it's a great tool, and yeah, amazing. So we are almost on the top of the hour, so we'll jump into the upcoming features, which I basically sort of discussed earlier. So what we are releasing this month or coming weeks is that we're basically looking at the mobile app. So you can basically, you and your clients have your own app to initiate coaching sessions, and also create tasks or make them accountable, and also create notes for coaches. All these clients, or yourself, actually, if you want to create your own notes, private notes, everything basically can be tracked. Even revenue can be tracked on your mobile app. So you can see all that, and like Corrina said, if you want to review your targets, anything that you define, you can basically create that in Delenta, and you can see that as well, including your upcoming sessions and completed sessions, etc. Courses is coming up also. We are just about release courses, which is basically you will create your own course and you'll be able to share with your clients at the first stage, and also you can sell at the second stage of our coaching, what we call course module, which means you can we have made it so simple that you can create just upload a video and have a content, what you call define a structure for your course, and then you can basically add those courses, video content, and share with your clients very easily. You can create almost like what you call tour about your coaching. If you want to sort of say, introduce yourself, introduce your coaching practice, how you're, how you work with your clients, that can be a course itself when you onboard your clients to Delenta. So you can create all that within Delenta very soon. Custom branding, we just released that actually today. So you can now white label. It's no longer upcoming session as upcoming as feature, sorry, and it's available. So you can define your own logo, colors, for primary, secondary colors, and then you can have your own brand to your coaching business. So that makes you so credible. You stand from everybody else. When you look at the market, like there's so many, of course, coaches are there. So you can basically define your own brand, and you can onboard your clients into it, and that way you can build your own, brand and business around it. So this is the sort of going back to Corina's terminology, like, building your empire, building your brand kind of concept coming in. So I'm just basically sort of try to relate as much as I can from, Corina shared. So that's it. I mean, there are a lot more integrations to come. For example, we are basically releasing QuickBook integrations in October, and also there are e-sign solution coming in. So there are a lot more stuff to look forward for. This year we are also selling what I call releasing event module for you to create your own events. So that's where you can create all community events, courses, and live coaching under one roof. So hey, that's Delenta. I really highly recommend you to basically go and see our website and see our book a demo if you like, or sign up and experience yourself. On that note, do we have any more questions at all?
Tammy is asking, is group coaching coming soon? So I think you can talk about it's already there in the platform.
Yeah, so group coaching is already there. I think we released our group coaching last April, and that made lots of coaches happy in terms of how they can scale their business. So today, one of the difficult part of the group coaching is onboarding large amount of clients, and also manage their tasks, accountability, notes, and all that. We have completely simplify the process. So you can create a coaching package. We define the number of size of your group, and then we basically, once you reach that size, we say sold out, contact your coach. And all these clients who get onboarded through Delenta, it's a seamless process. So you just have to create a coaching package. The rest is done by Delenta, and then you can schedule your group coaching sessions, integrating your Zoom. So it's very much simple. And you can create notes and share with the entire group within Delenta. You can create tasks. You can monitor who are completing these tasks, and also they can communicate with you as well. Which it's a great feature. And also we are bringing the community feature now, which make these groups to collaborate each other very soon. So Tammy, Tam, you probably, if you're interested, I would say please sign up and experience, or request a demo, and we are happy to walk you through on that. Corrina, thanks a lot. Thanks for spending this time with us, and it's a great session. I really enjoyed listening to you, and watching all these slides and how creatively you can build a coaching business. And those who attended today and those who are watching online, thank you very much for your interest. And if you like these kind of events, please follow up on our social media. And there are a lot more events to come in. We have scheduled for entire year with the different speakers from our community. So feel free to share this with your circles. And this event we created in this series, Elevate series, we created to help coaches around the world to elevate, their own, their coaching businesses. And you guys are doing amazing job by, sharing your knowledge, experience with the people who need. So we want to, support you through your journey, to that journey that, you started. So thank you for doing that. And thank you for attending today. And yeah, have a lovely evening. Corrina, any last, words from you, or you good?
Thank you for being a great audience. Yeah,
Okay.
this was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you very much for, sharing your wisdom. So, okay, thanks a lot, everyone. Hope you enjoyed, and, have a lovely rest of the day, evening, night, morning. So, okay, see you soon in the next event.